Hey everybody. I just want to get going here as quick as I can because I'm going to keep this at 15 minutes. And if we can keep this at 15 minutes, we're going to fly along. So what I want to do with everybody is, first of all, explain to you your colon's health is not only about poop. I've been especially reminded about this as people are going through detox programs, etc., and they're bloated and they don't go to the bathroom. Or they tell me they go once a day and they're fine, or every third day, whatever it is. So your colon's health is not only about poop. What else happens? And let's look at a little bit of anatomy. Here's your large and small intestine. The bowel is about 5 feet. The intestinal tract where you digest food above, and the small intestine is approximately 23 feet, 30 feet mouth to anus. I want you to pay attention to this. This is your colon, and I want you to notice that there's a major aorta in all the veins that attach to the colon walls. Why is that vitally important? Because when you have poop stuck in your colon, you are technically poisoning yourself by the toxic substances sitting in your bowel. And I just showed you all the blood attached, all the veins and the arteries. So all the toxins, scatol, cresol, indole, phenol, and the permeability of your wall. All of these things are affected by stool sitting in that bowel and directly poisoning your blood. And don't forget, the liver's cleansing that blood every 7 minutes. So what else about this blood supply? What else do we know? So I'm just, again, showing you another picture here with the blood vessels and a major artery that attach to the colon wall. Well, look at this. It's the superior mesenteric vein that affects your lymph drainage and your nerve supply. Nerves. That means your sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. That's your vagus. Now, this is interesting. If you go to a chiropractor, they will adjust your vagus cranial nerve. But people don't talk about the fact that it goes from the cranium all the way down to the bowel. And it's distributed until the right 2/3 of the transverse colon. How can this totally affect you? Well, it can affect you because it's responsible for your parasympathetic nervous system, which is the calming influence, right? The sympathetic is stress, cortisol, you're running away from a bear, but this vagus nerve does the opposite. It helps you get rid of stress and remain calm. The more things you do to stimulate that vagus nerve, the more relaxed you are. And guess what? It attaches right to your colon. That's why people feel so much better after they've had a colonic, right? They feel amazing and they don't understand why. This is one of the reasons, okay? Then I want to show you this. Here is your colon, and I've already showed you the major artery and the veins attached to that colon wall, which affects everything in your body because it's your blood. It's like soil to a plant, right? This is your blood, directly affected by your colon. But look at this. These little green dots, those are your lymph nodes. How important are your lymphs? Well, basically, your lymphs are your immune system. Right? The lymphs are like little trash cans that take out the garbage. And when they're full and when they don't move, they get full of waste and matter. And if they're attached here to this colon wall that's full of poop, you can see this is going to be a big problem. Now, here's interesting. The heart is a pump and it pumps your blood, but the lymphs technically have no pump. If you don't work out, if you don't sweat, if you don't do baths that cause sweating and perspiring, if you don't do saunas, if you don't do something to open these lymphs, especially as we age or we get sick or God forbid we have cancer, we're going to get very, very ill. So here's a little brief overview. The lymphatic system helps defend the body against illness, causing germs, bacteria, viruses, and fungi. These are illness-causing germs, I should say. The system builds immunity by making special white blood cells called lymphocytes that produce antibodies, which are responsible for immune responses that defend the body against disease. As lymph fluid passes through those lymph nodes, the white blood cells attack any bacteria or viruses found. This system helps to remove these impurities and dispose of them through perspiration, sweating, through bowel movements, urine, and your breath. Now let's go back again and look at that. There's lymph systems throughout the entire, or lymph nodes throughout the entire body. If you have breast cancer, they look for them under your arms, etc. So it's very interesting when I tell people that with your colon, not only are your blood vessels attached to the wall, the major arteries attached to the walls, your lymph system is attached to the walls, you have poop sitting inside that colon for long periods of time, your motility of the bowel. So looking at this picture of the bowel, I want to show you guys something here. If you look at this picture, you see how the large intestine has these little bumps that go all around the edges. They just look like weird little bumps. Well, those are muscles. The colon technically is a muscle. The colon should be, those musculature should be doing this all day, and that's called peristalsis. That's the churning and the musculature that pushes the stool forward till you eventually have a bowel movement. Now, the problem here is most people's peristalsis and the movement of those muscles are stagnant. And we have doctors on TV telling everybody to not do colonics because it's going to remove all the good bacteria. And I want to tell you guys again, I'm going to do it again. Look at the anatomy. You've got your veins, you've got a major artery attached to this colon wall. You have, it says right here, the blood supply to the colon. You have a major superior mesenteric vein, you have the lymph drainage attached to the colon, and your nerve supply. When you're all wired up and you need parasympathetic, a lot of this has to do with this blood supply that's also going directly to that colon that's full of, dare I say, shit, and all of the toxins that come with shit, right? Then imagine you've got MS. Let's imagine you've got Lyme's disease. Let's imagine you have cancer. And your autoimmune system, your body's ability to actually eliminate the toxins, it's compromised, right? Because you're sick. So now, instead of toxins coming right through the body and coming straight out of that bowel and being eliminated, they're not. They're sitting there. And we need, when we're sick, when I had breast cancer, fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, lupus, and MS, when I was so ill, my elimination systems were not working well. They also don't work well when you're on prescription drugs. That if that prescription drug is supposed to make you feel calmer, it's also making your colon stagnant. It's not moving, right? We need peristalsis. We need the musculature of the colon to be moving. Now, tell me again that you're worried about losing your good bacteria out of the bowel when you understand this anatomy right here. Your good bacteria totally counts. But when I work with people, when I do a lab test and I found out you're loaded with bacteria, it's a process to restore that bowel. We need to kill the bad bugs. We need to get that body's elimination system open again and working, and down the road with diet and with other things, we will restore that flora. But if you've been on Tylenol and over-the-counter drugs as well as prescription drugs, the chances you actually have any good flora and bacteria, most people don't have a lot of it. So I wanted to draw your attention in this short video to the anatomy of the colon so that you will understand how incredibly vital it is to keep this organ clean. The liver and the colon are intimately connected. When this bowel is all backed up, remember this. You have intestinal autointoxication. Auto means you're intoxicating yourself all day long because all that stuff in there is just releasing its toxic load into the bloodstream, which affects the liver. Now, if you have fatty liver, say you have non-alcoholic fatty liver disorder, you're already compromised from your liver. So again, the colon is the major organ that's going to help to release and help unburden. You know, the burden of all of this waste is directly affecting you. So this is, I call colonics an adjunctive therapy. It's not the answer to everything, but it's very impactful and it's very helpful for most people who are ill. When I was ill and I couldn't do anything, I was told I would be in a wheelchair by the time I was 40. I couldn't take a lot of supplements. I couldn't do a lot of things. I was very, very ill. And colonics and also enemas and coffee enemas were one of the things that released my toxic load. It unloaded me. I actually had moments of the day where I felt good. Nothing else had made me feel good. So it was a very good beginning. Anyway, I'm going to end this. This is really about basic anatomy and how your colon has so much more to do with things than just poop. I'll talk to you later, you guys. Okie doke. Bye-bye.